I hope everybody is enjoying the food. We'd like to start the program in about 15 minutes. Thank you. Jill Glossner will have 50-50 raffle tickets available for another 10 minutes, and then we will do the drawing for the 50-50. And once again, that benefits the J Scholarship Fund. Okay, 2 more minutes on the 50-50 drawing. 2 more minutes on the 50-50 drawing. I also would like to remind all of the Hall of Champions inductees to wear your jacket when you come up. Make sure you have your jacket on when you come up. And we will do the 50-50 drawing in about 5 minutes. Jill Glossner, when you're ready, please come on up and we will do the 50-50 drawing for the J Scholarship. Once again, Hall of Champions inductees, if you can please make sure that you wear your jackets when you are introduced this evening. We have about 5 minutes before we get started. Okay, the raffle. The 50-50 raffle is closed, so we're going to do our drawing, so get your tickets out. And the pot is $675. I can't hear you. And the winning ticket is 863-6253. 863-6253 for $675. And the other $675 will be a contribution to the J Scholarship Fund. And of course, Jill has reminded me that she will continue to take donations throughout the evening. So 5 minutes and we will start the program. All right, I'm going to read the number again, 863-6253. All right, once again, 863-6253, last call. Okay, Miss Corey. All right, keep your tickets because we have no winner. Pull them out again. All right. Second chance, 863-6249. John Runney. John will be at the bar after the program concludes and will be buying drinks for the MC. Okay, can we have everybody take their seats, and third time's the charm. Holland Champions inductees, please make sure you have your jackets on. Welcome everyone to the 2014 Hall of Champions and Honor Squadron program. And to begin the program, I'd like to introduce the president of the American Powerboat Association, Mr. Mark Wheeler.
Thank you, Ed. Before we get started on sort of the announced part of the program, just two special awards. One, the Donnie Allen Leadership Award was given to Mr. Bill Boyes last night at the outboard ceremony. We'd just like to recognize Bill again for all his wonderful contributions to the American Powerboat Association over the years. Thank you, Bill. Then I'm deeply honored to present the next award. It's presented from Mark Weber and the Inboard Racing Commission, and it reads, Charlie and Barbara Strang, in appreciation of your continued support and contributions to APBA in the inboard racing category. Charlie, Barb, would you come up and get this, please? And now it's my great pleasure to ask Dan Campush to come up and present the Charlie Strang Meritorious Service Award. Dan?
Thank you. Before I present the award, I just want to take a second to thank Charlie and Barbara Strang for hosting the Ann Strang cocktail reception party. Charlie's done a lot of things for APBA, and you know free drinks are right up there. Today, I was humbled when President Wheeler asked me to accept the Charles Ultimate Lifetime Service Award for this year's nominee, who unfortunately could not be here. The Charles Strang Ultimate Lifetime Service Award is named in honor of a man who has given a lifetime of service. Charlie Strang has many decades of service to APBA at every level. To be considered for this award, you must have also dedicated decades of exceptional service to APBA, and this year's winner certainly fits this criteria. Our winner became involved in APBA as a member in the mid-1960s. He was a founding member of the Morgan City Powerboat Club and a past president for this club. He was the Morgan City race organizer for many years, chairing the Nationals in the late 1960s. He was a longtime sponsor of this race. He was a member of the Inboard Board of Governors. He was a member of the Inboard Racing Commission. He was the Region 9 chairman. He was the APBA treasurer. He was on the APBA council. He was the inboard chief referee. He was the APBA chief referee. He rewrote the APBA rulebook. He is a member of the APBA Honor Squadron. Excuse me. He has a service award named after him in the inboard category. What makes all of this even more remarkable is that our winner never owned a boat, never drove a boat. He always gave to the association and never took anything back. He was the type of man who worked in the background at every level. He was willing to take on the tough jobs and wasn't worried about recognition. He was someone who you could count on to do what was needed. I last saw this year's recipient a couple years ago at the Morgan City race. He made it a point to come over and ask me how things were going in APBA. I was on the board of directors at the time, and he wanted to know how that was going. He was a man that, even after all these years, still clearly cares about our organization. It is with great pride that I accept this award on behalf of Mr. Bruce Broussard. He's the definition of someone who deserves the Charlie Strang Ultimate Service Award. Congratulations, Bruce. Thank you.
Just as a footnote, Bruce continues to work for us. He was on the phone with the finance committee as recently as last Sunday, hammering out next year's finances. He's truly a wonderful man, and he did exactly what his friends would have expected him to do. When I called him to tell him he won the award, he quickly compiled a list of people he felt were more deserving, and I told him I wouldn't take it. So with that, let me introduce Ann Fitzgerald for the Honor Squadron.
Okay. Thank you, President Wheeler, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to continue to serve on the Honor Squadron Committee as their chair. I can't think of any other committee that would be better other than the Historical Society with all that money they get to manage. But we had a great committee, and I want to thank all of my committee. They work very hard when we get the nominations and have to do their balloting. Bruce Broussard, Stephen David, Steve Hearn, Gary Romberg, Edgar Rose, Dutch Squires, Charlie Strang, Sally Titus, Gloria Urban, Mark Weber, and Duke Waldrop. They're a great committee, and I know that they take the task of evaluating your nominations very, very seriously. In fact, Sally has told me she even makes a spreadsheet up so that she can align everything and see who's best qualified. That's a little over the top, Sally. This year we had 8 nominations, but I think all of you know only 2 people will be inducted. If you if you nominated someone and they are not inducted, I don't want you to give up. Sometimes it takes a couple of years. We can only take 2. And I resubmit your nominations. Look at the criteria, be specific as possible. We're looking for well-written nominations that are specific. Don't just give us information like somebody served on a certain committee and they're a great guy. Give us years, give us specific information so that we can really see the detail of their contributions. And I know if you look around and go home and look around, there's somebody I'm sure that you believe should be inducted in this group. And it takes you to do some research and write up a nomination and get it to me. If I think maybe you haven't quite hit it right with detail, I'll call you back or email you. I'm not going to rewrite it for you, but I will help you with what I know this committee is looking for. At this time, I would like all the previous inductees to come forward and line up so that the new inductees can come through the line and be congratulated by you. And while they're coming up here, if you haven't gone to the website to see the Honor Squadron section page, go there because it's really cool the way it's set up. They have a medallion for every year, and you click on the medallion and it goes into other pages and gives you all the detailed information for all the inductees over the years. Okay. Okay. Before we move on, I would like to invite Bob Shellhays up to the podium to say a few words about our first inductee. Bob? I can't see. I think you're on. Okay.
I nominated Jim Codling to this select group because I feel it was long overdue. And this is a fantastic group that he is joining. I believe the measure of a person's worth to an organization is much more indicated by the contributions to the organization than by his personal achievements. And Jim's contributions to APBA have been numerous. As an APBA member since 1968, Jim has contributed far more than the norm of what would be expected of an owner in both Region 10 and the American Powerboat Association. Just a few of his national accomplishments or contributions: he's been a member of the Inboard Racing Commission for 28 years. He's been the Board of Governors chairman for 5 APBA national meetings. He was a former chief referee of the Inboards 4 times and Unlimited 3 times. He has refereed over 700 races for APBA. He's been a chairman and fundraiser for the 71, 72, and 73 Inboard Nationals in Green Lake. Boy, I wish we had those again. Below are just a few of his Region 10 contributions. He's been Region 10 chairman for 27 years, starting in 1979 through 2009. Region 10 Inboard chairman for 7 years, starting in 1971 through 79. He's responsible for 5 new race sites in Region 10, including Moses Lake, Soap Lake, Oak Harbor, and 2 races on Lake Chelan. He's been a lifetime member of Seattle Outboard Racing Association for over 30 years. He's been the treasurer of Seattle Dragon Ski Sprint Boats for 26 years and is a lifetime member for 35 years. My first year racing in APBA was in 1986, and Jim was the Region 10 chairman at that time. Over the years, I have witnessed his many selfless contributions to both APBA and Region 10, regardless of the category. APBA and Region 10 are much stronger today than they were previously due to his leadership and guidance.
Jim, we would like you to come forward through the line of former inductees and come on stage and receive your medallion. In addition to a medallion, we also now have a very nice certificate to give each honoree.
A long time coming. Well, now I'm thoroughly embarrassed. That light's bright. How do you take that? Ooh. Eddie, turn it down. Thanks, everybody. It's been a long time in the association, and I've enjoyed it a lot, meeting all of you over the years. So I wish to thank everybody for a wonderful response and all the years I've been involved in racing. This is a great honor, the highest in APBA, and I really appreciate it. I remember when I received the Tony Scartino Award way back when, then the High Point Award plaques and trophies and the gold rings for the pro stock boat and super stock boat, but this is a lot more cool, but I like it a lot. I look at all the past winners that have received this achievement and feel very honored to be proud of all you guys and gals, and this is really nice. Nice to finally be up here. I even darkened my hair so it just looks better, huh? Anyhow, my friend Bob Shellhays listed some of the comings and goings of our association. Gosh, I wonder sometimes how I had time to do the things I did. But really and truly, this association, all you guys and gals, has been my life. My family doesn't approve of this at all, but so this is what we do. We go boat racing. I've been in all parts of the United States, from almost every state union refereeing or officiating at races. We're around the world several times with H1 and other groups like that offshore. One of the nicest notes I received so far, and I had no idea, it's supposed to be all big secret, right? Mona from Qatar, she sent me an email saying, "Congratulations on your award, Jim." I go, you never ask her how she knows anything, but there it was. And that was great to hear that. 29 years as region chairman is plenty of time to make lots of people mad and lots of people happy. And I've done both. But I guess it's time, in that same time, to fix all those relationships and all the things that we've done right and wrong for the association. So thanks to all the club members, racers, officials who have helped me over the years, and there's lots of you here today that's put up with me over the years. We have a great group of scorers and timers and helpers, and wherever I go, I've enjoyed each and every one of you. This association now needs your help. This is where I kind of get off the subject a little bit. To get our membership back going and going faster. We're going downhill on membership forms, and you guys and gals here are the focus of that organization. You need to start working at it. Get those old folks out of their motorhomes and drinking wine in the parking lots and get them back down and helping the kids. They can afford that motorhome. They can afford a new 2.5 liter or a nice D boat or something like that. But it's important that we get those people, bring them back involved in our association and make it meaningful again for them to come back and say we enjoy them. We enjoy their participation, what they can bring back to the table, because they've been there, they know how to do it. So try to work yourselves and try and get some people like that back in association and let us keep growing. There's a lot of us knowledge in the parking lots, camping areas around the country. So I ask all of you to knock on the doors of those motorhomes and try to get some of them back involved. Sponsoring new kids, sponsoring classes, or just help with the race sites. So thanks again for this honor. I appreciate it very, very much. Remember, it's out west and it's Region 10. Mightiest to them all, go Hawks.
Okay, congratulations, Jim. For the next inductee, I would like Steve Greaves to come to the stage. Oh, you're right there.
Taking the inside lane up to the. Oh, you're right about the light. Well, no way to keep this a secret. As soon as you see the pictures. Representing many hundreds of boat racers across the country, I am honored to induct Penny Anderson into the APBA Honor Squadron. I'm certain Penny needs no introduction to any of you. In so many ways, Penny has always been there, supporting and contributing to the success of APBA. Penny's been actively involved in APBA racing for decades. She's been awarded the 50-year gold membership card to Seattle Outboard Association. She was married to Howard Anderson, pro chairman, is the mother of 2 boat racers, Susan Rottenberg and Cheryl Rucker, is the grandmother and team sponsor to current racers Ashley and Colin Rucker, and the great-grandmother of Tegan and Tucker Rottenberg, who are future J Hydro drivers. Penny entered into the APBA racing family at an early age and has countless family ties in APBA through marriages, births, friendships, all that evolved throughout her long relationship with APBA. She is known in Region 10 as Ma Penn, and many boat racers consider her mom when she goes above and beyond to make sure everyone feels welcome. How many boat racers call her Ma Penn? Penny began service to SOA and APBA early on. She worked on many dozens of race committees, putting together complex racing events such as the Sammamish Slough Race and the Seafair Green Lake Regatta. She worked tirelessly, attending many city council meetings that led to the approvals necessary for the Green Lake Stock Nationals in 1968. The Sammamish Slough Race that ran up through 1976 was arguably the most complex annual boat racing event to manage and conduct. And under Penny's leadership, the event became world famous. While her family was out driving race boats, Penny became the first female Commodore of the Seattle Outboard Association. She managed the affairs of the club, conducting countless racing events and meetings, providing leadership to one of the largest clubs in the country for 4 terms as Commodore. She passed these values of service on to her daughters, who both later served as Commodore of SOA. Penny also spent many years as APBA Region 10 Secretary. While serving both SOA and Region 10, Penny also became a referee and was SOA's chief scorer for more years than anyone can remember. She worked tirelessly at registration and scoring for decades, not only for the outboard categories, but also for the unlimited category and their annual regatta on Lake Washington. In addition, Penny has recruited and mentored many of our sport's current officials. In 2008, Penny was presented with the Pro Categories Official Award for her time and dedication as a pro official. That same year, Penny was honored with the Donnie Allen Senior Award for her service to APBA. Penny served for 10 years as secretary to the Pro Commission, taking commission meeting notes, writing articles, developing rulebook ballots, and proofing rulebooks. More recently, Penny has served on APBA Council for at least a dozen years. And for the past 15 years, Penny has taken on the enormous task of planning and organizing this very meeting, the APBA annual meeting. Each annual meeting actually starts several years in advance as Penny works with hotels, vendors, food suppliers to ensure that each commission and committee has its needs met when they arrive at the annual meeting. The great success of APBA's annual meetings for the past 15 years is largely thanks to Penny. And Penny has made donations in support of many APBA causes. Anytime there is a fundraiser for an injured driver, Penny's right there. And she directed contributions in Howard's memory to the Jay Scholarship Fund. In summary, Penny has truly dedicated her life to serving APBA. Please join with me in welcoming Penny Anderson to the APBA's Honor Squadron.
This will take a while. This is why I love chairing Honor Squadron Committee. It's always so happy. Everything's good. Nobody gets mad. Congratulations. And this is your certificate.
Yeah, I'm all right. I don't do this very well. 20 years ago, see, I don't. 20 years ago, my late husband, Howard Anderson, was inducted into the Honor Squadron. The day he got his letter, he cried. He cried when he accepted his award. He couldn't even talk. When Ryan Berlin called me and told me that I was going to be inducted into the Honor Squadron, I was speechless, and that's pretty unusual for me. Boy, I can't see either. I've traveled 1,000,000 miles. I've said it before. I don't know what vacation means if it doesn't have the word boat racing associated with it. I've made that many sandwiches, I'm sure, and made a lot of memories. Steve Greaves covered a lot of the things that I've done. I've loved every minute of it, obviously. I remember going to boat races with a brand new baby, sitting on the barge all day long, scoring, taking my diaper bag to change diapers between heats, being towed in on the barge after 2 long full days at Lawrence Lake with the clock on the barge, the scoring crew, and our champagne. The APBA meetings have always been wonderful. Get to see all the friends that I've made over the years, and they're all good friends, all of you, that my other family. All those things that I did because I just love being involved in the boat racing. My kids, the kids love it, obviously. As Steve said, both my girls raced, Susan and Cheryl. My 2 grandchildren, Ashley and Colin, by the way, they're 4th generation boat racers on both sides of their family. And now I've got Tegan and Tucker just waiting to come in and get into a J. I didn't know when I was 18 years old, standing on the banks of this, well, I was actually in the pits at the slew race, that I was going to be involved for this long, and it's way too many years for me to tell you about. I love it, and that's why I kept doing it. It's mostly the people, as you all know, and I can't thank you enough for thinking that I deserve this honor. I've never been in a boat. Well, I can't say I've never been in a boat. I got behind my husband in an F racing runabout, which wasn't terribly brilliant on my part. But I've never raced. But I can tell you that I do know all the parts to a 500 Yamato, a 700 Koenig, and a 6-cylinder flathead. So I just want to say thank you again to all of you. This is the highest honor in APBA, and I am truly honored. Thank you.
So congratulations to both Jim and Penny, very deserving. As I said, it's a great honor to honor this, to be chairman of this Honor Squadron Committee. I'm now going to turn the program over for the Hall of Champions section of our banquet, and Ed Hearn is going to take that over. Ed?
Thank you, Ann. Before we start the Hall of Champions ceremony, I want to do a couple of things. First of all, I'm sure all of you have noticed the championship flower wreath that we have here this evening. The APBA Historical Society donated those for this evening's ceremony on behalf of and in memory of Stan Fitz. Stan was, he was a boat racer, and he was an APBA member's best friend. Stan loved the American Powerboat Association, and whenever the APBA needed something, Stan was there to do it. And even to the point where he became involved as a defendant in lawsuits. And we lost Stan last year, and in his memory, the Historical Society has donated the flowers for this evening. I also want to thank tonight's sponsors who are mentioned in your brochure. Without the contributions of all of the sponsors that we have, we would not be able to have and enjoy this evening. And finally, I want to thank Fred Miller for his 40 years of contribution to the APBA Hall of Champions. Fred, where are you? Stand up. Fred's done this for 40 years, and it's changed a lot in 40 years. And I got a message about halfway through dinner about something that I needed to remember. And I sent the message back, and I said, you tell Fred that if he sends me another message on how to do this right, he's going to get the job back. Okay, this is it. On to the boat racing. This is APBA's highest award for participation in powerboat racing. This is what every boat racer aspires to accomplish. And there's an old saying, winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. And that is what tonight's inductees represent. Tonight, we honor the best of the best, 21 drivers and operators from across all of APBA's categories. These are the drivers that every boat racer aspires to be like. These are the drivers who set the pace. These are the drivers who every driver wants to be like. And these are the drivers who, you know, when you've passed these drivers and beaten these drivers, you have made one heck of an accomplishment. And without any further ado, please start the program.
Final lap, the checkered flag is out. Here's your winner of the 2014 DYC Detroit APBA Gold Cup, Jimmy Shane.
For years, Edward Hearn from Valparaiso, Indiana, has dominated his classes in outboard racing, and this year would be no different. For an unprecedented 18th time, Edward Hearn is making an appearance into the APBA Hall of Champions. This year, competing in B-Stock Runabout, 25 Super Stock Runabout, and for the first time ever in his career, C-Stock Runabout, Hearn won a CSR Central Divisional Championship, BSR, CSR, and 25 SSR Summer National Championships, and BSR and CSR High Point Championships, accumulating 12,595 points, which added to his grand total of 16,961, earning him the Henry Menzies Award.
For the 18th time, please welcome Edward Hearn.
"2014 was a lot of fun. If you have never traveled across the country with 4 children under the age of 10 and some people that you've never even met before the trip, in a 45-foot rig, that's a lot of fun. But it was a lot of fun because it was fun to go out to hostile territory and to race with all of our Region 7 brethren and lady drivers and accomplish what we did. I entered a new class this year, and thanks to my father-in-law who said, "I'm not going to go, so you have to drive the rig." The Sea Runabout ride was a lot of fun and a new challenge. But 2014 wouldn't be possible without all of the contributions from my family, but most especially my wife, Kelly. But also my 4 girls, because they made the trip out west a lot of fun. That's Ellie, Izzy, Ava, and Corey. Thank you very much.
For the fourth time in his 40-year racing career, David Rankin from Hacienda Heights, California, is making his way into the APBA Hall of Champions. Competing in the inboard endurance Grand National class, GN44 collected 810 total points in its 9 best races. In addition to his high point title, with the help of boat owner Darren Susanian, Ecology Auto Parts, and many others, Rankin went on to win the Grand National Summer National Championship. However, the highlight of Rankin's racing season came when he won the Rudy Ramos Memorial Trophy.
Please welcome David Rankin.
Oh, the light is bright. I'd like to thank Darren, the owner of the GN44, for giving me the opportunity to drive it. He honestly does a lot of timeless and selfless work on it. And I guess unless you've been with the boat team, the work it takes to keep a boat running like Darren's is a full-time job. And a lot of this credit, or probably all of this credit, should go to him. I got to say that my family probably makes quite a bit of sacrifice for me to do this sport that I love. And it wouldn't be right if I didn't thank my wife, Dee, and my sons, Corey, Sean, and Dennis. So they take care of the work while I'm gone and let me goof off. So thank you. And
In what is now his 3rd overall APBA Hall of Champions induction, junior classes driver Grant Hearn put on a show this year in the AX classes by winning the AXH High Point title with 6,853 total points in his 15 best races. 2 of his best races this year came at the Junior Classes Nationals in Moses Lake, Washington, when Hearn won both the AXR and AXH Summer Nationals. In addition to his Summer National Championships, Hearn also claimed the AXR North American Championship, which took place in Hinton, West Virginia.
Please welcome my nephew, Grant Hearn.
Wow, it is bright up here. You know, I never really thought I'd be standing up here right now to be inducted in my 3rd Hall of Champions, because for 2014, I was mainly focused on the A category. I started off my year pretty well by winning the North American Championship in AX Hydro in Hinton, West Virginia. As the year went on, I started placing in top positions for AX Runabout and AX Hydro. Arriving at Nationals, we were still focused on the A classes. I didn't do as well as I expected in A stock runabout and A stock hydro, but Donnie Allen sure did with my prop and backup motor. Hey, Donnie, where are you? You're the real Iron Man. It was a pretty good battle with Becky Nichols and AX run out, but I ultimately ended up winning, and she took 2nd. It's been a real accomplishment to beat Becky. She's an outstanding driver. I won the first heat of AX Hydro by a mile, but the second heat, I got a bad start, and it looked like Tori was going to win the Nationals until she flipped in the second turn. On the restart of the second heat, we were all jumbled up the start, and I nailed the start from, the second heat, I got a bad start, and it looked like Tori was going to win the Nationals until she flipped in the second turn. We were all jumbled up at the start, and I nailed it within 4 inches from the line. We were all waiting on inspection to hear if I jumped the gun, only to find out that I got thrown out for getting on plane going the wrong way. How crazy is that? I'd like to thank my Uncle Ed for helping me out with the appeals process. This is the only race where I've been flown into, like a professional, to just drive. Thank you, Uncle Ed and Aunt Kelly, for driving all my stuff out to nationals. Of course, I almost killed everyone on the way back to the airport while falling asleep behind the wheel in the minivan. After hitting a road sign and heading straight for the median, my dad looked up from his phone and grabbed the wheel. Luckily, he was the only one awake out of 7, but we returned it. Before we returned it, we stopped at a convenience store and bought super glue to glue the mirror back on, and they never even noticed a dent on the side of the van. I want to thank Spencer Davidson for being a great help throughout the season. Spencer, being a new driver this year, is doing a good job in B-Stock Runabout, but he tried to race AX Hydro. He almost got lapped by Tori and I. Spencer, I think you have a lot to learn in driving a Hydra. At the end of the season, we realized that I won the Nationals in AX Runabout, AX Hydro, got high points for AX Hydro, and the North American Championship in AX Hydro. All in all, I am proud to be part of the 2-trailer Region 7 team at Moses Lake, where we took home 12 national/world championships out of, I think, 18 total. I'm excited to turn over my AX Hydro and AX Runabout rig to my cousin Rylan, who I know will do well in 2015. Congrats, World Champ. I'm looking forward to another great year to come in A-Stock Runabout and A-Stock Hydro, and maybe more classes to come. You'll have to wait and see. A big thanks to my dad for all that he does for me, and to my mom, sister, grandmother, grandpa, and Aunt Beth for coming out to watch and support me. This is Grant Hearn, Iron Man 2, out.
Continuing his dominant run from 2013, this year junior classes driver Jared Pavlick kicked off his season with a J Hydro Central Division Championship in Grass Lake, Michigan. Pavlick, with the help of his dad Mike, brother Mikey, and numerous others, would then go on to win the J Hydro North American Championship, the J Hydro and J Runabout Summer National Championships, and in his 15 best races, Pavlick would go on to collect 7,025 total points and win the J Hydro High Point title.
Please welcome Jared Pavlick.
Well, that light is really bright. I couldn't be up here without 3 main things: God, my family, and my team. As a race team, we don't always do things in an ordinary way, so I'm going to start this off with saying thank you. I'd like to thank my family for always supporting me and working on my stuff, my grandmas and grandpa, my cousins, aunts, and uncles. Thanks to Aunt Beth for my first helmet and AX Hydro prop. I'd like to thank Joe Pater for her constant help and support throughout the entire year, and for also giving me some extra special feel for the big races. I'd also like to thank the Allens for always helping me and being great teammates, for Big Don especially for making sure all the equipment made it out to Washington and not getting pawned in Sturgis. I like to thank Shep, the Falders, Gary Pond, and Ted Olson for always being willing to lend me equipment. I'd also like to thank Chris Fairchild for helping with many things, including welding the trailer axle back on so that we could get to the races, even though we caught the trailer box on fire. I'd also like to thank Uncle Bill, Jeff Shuffler, for doing some awesome jobs setting up my J Runabout Nationals. I'd like to thank the J Committee for giving us the motivation to build a new boat. Our 2014 race season actually started at the National meeting in Reno. Once we saw the new rules put in place, we started sketching a new boat for me to race. We finished the boat on a Thursday morning, ran to the river and test, and then packed up to go to Hinton, West Virginia for North American Championships. After the race, we knew it would be a good year, but my dad still wasn't convinced we were going to nationals. After a lot of pushing from all of us, and my mom getting really tired of all the excuses, we decided to go. Boy, am I glad we did. We had a great time on the trip out, and got to see our entire team and region do awesome. The highlight for me was definitely watching my brother Mikey win nationals. It was awesome. I'd also like to finally thank my parents. I couldn't have done this without them, keeping me in line and ready for a race course and real life. I'm so thankful to have them here tonight, knowing that without them, without their hard work, I would be nothing. And all of their hard work is exponentially more than mine. If I become half the parent my parents are, my kids would be the happiest kids in the world. Thank you, and have a good night.
In recent years, no professional racing outboard driver has been as dominant as Jay Walls Jr. Winning 8 total summer national championships since the 2011 season, Walls would go on to add 3 more to his collection this year in C Service Runabout, C Racing Runabout, and C Racing Hydro. Walls is now making his 4th consecutive trip to the APBA Hall of Champions. And in addition to his 3 summer national championships, Walls earned the C Racing Runabout and C Racing Hydro High Point titles, collecting 8,400 total points to once again claim the Colonel Green Round Hill Trophy.
Please welcome Mr. Jay Walls Jr.
Austin Dugan for you. I don't know what happened in the brochure. Jim was first and it was me second, but I still beat him up here too. I don't know how that happened. just kidding. All right. 4 years ago, if was my first time getting into this, and if you told me that I was going to be in this 4 times in a row, I'd have been like, yeah, whatever. You don't know what you're talking about. And but no, here we are. It's 4 times in a row. I blows my mind. I can't even believe it. The only way you get up here is with the help of your family and your pit crew, especially. And you got to have a little bit of luck along the way. And we've had 4 years of good luck. So anyway, it's worked out for the best. And my pit crew, of course, kind of like our crew chief guy, his name's Sherm Caldwell. He drives to all these races. He comes out from Columbus, Ohio to every race. And we wouldn't be half the team we are without him. Carl Williams, he got the antiques, kind of back into the racing scene and got us, we got into the APBA and got to where we can get some points into this. So it's kind of neat that 2 antiques got into the Hall of Champions this year for pro. The Gleasons, it's a family friend of Dad's. They come out to all the races, and again, they drive out from northern Indiana to come out to and help, and they get in the water, do everything we ask them to, no complaints, and plus they bring like 2 full coolers of sandwiches, and it's that's the main reason they come. And my dad's buddy Steve Blair, they've been friends since they were in high school. They used to get almost arrested together and whatnot. A previous inductee, Gary Miller, I owe a lot of this to him because he straightened me out, teaching me how to get the inside and finally hit a start every once in a while. And of course my dad, Jay Walls, when he started in 2003, I followed in his footsteps in 2005, and it's been like me and him ever since at all the races. And our trailer says Walls and Son on the side, and it's been that way for I don't even know how long now, since we started, 10 years, 12 years now. And Anyway, that for the pit crew, I can't thank them enough. It's amazing. And my mom, she supports it, even though I blew over this year. Yeah, she wasn't too happy about that. Anyway, I think that's about it. Oh, by the way, I finally found a girlfriend that likes boat racing, and that's yeah. So she sits right over there. But anyway, no, thank you very much. It's been amazing 4 years. I hope to be back standing up here again next year. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. We're all one big family. Thank you.
After a 2-year absence, Jim Nielson is making his return to the APBA Hall of Champions. This year, Nielson racked up the victories, claiming the Western Divisional titles in Sea Service Runabout, Sea Service Hydro, and Sea Racing Runabout. Nielson also won the Sea Race Hydro Summer National Championship, as well as High Point titles in Sea Service Runabout and Sea Service Hydro. With help from boat owner Steve Greaves, Nielson was able to add a total of 5 speed records in 2014, which helped him earn his 8th APBA Hall of Champions induction overall.
Please welcome Jim Nielson.
Well, yeah, once again, I follow JJ. So, for us, it's been a couple of years. Boy, he had a stretch. I think his dad told me about 9 straight national championships. For those of you that don't know, the service classes, we run 4 classes at nationals. We run racing, hydro racing, runabout, service hydro, service runabout. And coming from the Northwest, it's the one time we come to the Midwest to race. And JJ, his dad, Jay, what a class act. And, I really enjoy racing against him. But I guess my one claim coming out of this year is, JJ, I've got 1 in a row now. So, I finally broke that string. So, but for me, it's really an honor to be up here. For a guy that started racing, I started racing with my kids. So I started racing at the age of 42. So, and here I am 18 years later with 8 Hall of Champions. I mean, I tell people I'm still living the dream. And, thank yous, there's a lot of them. I want to start with Mark Wheeler and APBA for all they do for us. I want to thank the Hall of Champion Committee. That's Ernie Dawes, Tracy Trollian, and also Mr. Ryan Berlin. I'll get all these, I hope. Okay. And of course, our families, my wife, Rebecca, she's given up a lot for this. We're coming up on 10 years of marriage. We've been in a house for 10 years, and the goal was, it was a 30-year house. And of course, we were going to have it all remodeled in 5 years. And before I came here, I was putting up sheetrock in the bathroom. So you can see that's kind of been put off a little bit because money tends to go a little bit to our boat racing too. I have 2 sons, Jamie and Jonathan, that both race. Like a lot of you here, probably most of you here, we do it as a family. My boys are in their 20s now, so they don't live at home anymore, but we still get together and we go boat racing as a family. Of course, then I owe my racing success to my owner, Steve Greaves. He was the gentleman up here doing Penny's induction. Steve came to me, I believe it was 2003, and asked me if I wanted to race his equipment. And my initial response was, I think you might want to talk to my sons because they're better drivers than I am. And here we are. Fortunately, he stuck with me, and it's been a great relationship. I couldn't ask for anything more. And then, of course, his wife, Sherry. So always there to support. Codling, you beat me to it. But for you, Sherry, go Hawks. So they happen to be going to the football game. They're going to the Super Bowl, which is kind of cool. But, and then last, I just want to say thanks to all my friends in Region 10 and Seattle Outboard Association. We're all a big family. Region 10 right now we are the largest region in the nation right now as far as active drivers go, active racers. And, even though we go through tough times, we put the driving school, which we call New People in Boats. We have our J project where we build boats. And, if you work at it, you can be successful. This last year in our region at Outboard Races, our entries were up by an average of 30 entries per day per event. Okay, the J drivers this last year, there were 52 drivers nationwide. We had 20 in our region. So things are looking great for the future. So, like every other group, you have 5 or 10% of the people that do 90 to 95% of the race. But unless you try, you don't know. But we have found that, you just keep backing away at it. Be optimistic, not pessimistic, and you can make things work. So again, thank you very much.
For 30 years, Mike Bartlett has competed in APBA racing, and this year all of his hard work has paid off with his first induction into the APBA Hall of Champions. In 2014, Bartlett cleaned up in the 200 modified outboard classes, earning Western Divisional titles in 200 mod runabout and 200 mod hydro, a summer national championship in 200 mod hydro, and high point titles in both 200 mod hydro and 200 mod runabout.
Please welcome Mike Bartlett.
Wow, this just all seems so surreal. It's been quite an amazing year. I only planned on racing 3 or 4 races this year just to try to play with the mod motor, see if we couldn't get a mod engine to work. Well, it seems like we got it to run okay this year. Everything really clicked into place. First off, I have to thank my beautiful wife, Kim, supporting me for 30 years of racing boats. Thank you so much. We actually met at Silver Lake, Eatonville in 1987. So she's only been involved with this for 27 years, but I was kind of surprised when someone introduced us, and Kim, enunciate carefully, she wanted to deck ride for me. And the next 3 years, we drove 2-person mod runabout for Bob Montoya. And that was a great time back in the 80s. They were definitely some fun times. And our son, Brian, I can't forget him. He's been involved with college, and college came first, but he still made it out to a couple races to help the old man lift some boats and get me going, which was greatly appreciated. And also for letting me borrow his boat. I didn't tell him I was going to run it this year, but he let me do it. So I told him I wouldn't put a hole in it like he did back in 2006. And mostly thanking Brian for helping keep the spark alive for the last 12 years. Doing it for a long time. Sometimes it can get a little routine and mundane, but having a son that's involved in it really was nice. There's no greater reward than having your son or daughter follow a sport that you really like. The runabout that I did run was a 14-year-old Blackwell boat, and it's been held up well over the years. And if it wasn't for the quality boats that I started driving, the Blackwell racing boats, I wouldn't be the driver that I am today. Got to give a shout out to my prop guy, Craig DeWald. He never disappoints. About 2 weeks before Nationals, I just happened to find that magic propeller. Doug Martin, wow, what a guy. The unending generosity of Doug Martin was instrumental in my success this year. Thank you so much, Doug, and the whole Martin family. Last but not least, Rick Hannon. I bought my very first boat from Rick in the fall of 1984. Actually, it was his brother's Mark's boat, but Rick's the one that sold it to me. I had no idea of the long and lasting friendship it would create and all the great people and friends I would meet on this journey. Ironically, I also bought my last boat from Rick Hannon, the Dock Raft, the one that won Nationals. And that's been an awesome ride. Thank you, Ernie. Not only has Rick been a great friend, but he is one of the best motor builders out there and a heck of a setup artist too. Meticulous to every detail of making a boat go fast, then go faster. I almost wore the poor guy out testing. The last month before Nationals, we were just looking for a little more. And we actually had to do through and get her all done for me. And about reminiscing, winning 200 hydro, a second in 200 runabout, my best 2 finishes ever in any Nationals of about 12 national events that I've been to. And I said, it's now just starting to sink in. I knew I still had what it takes to get the job done. Rick said, I knew I could build a motor that would win. I just needed a driver. Everything just seemed to fall into place and click last year. I'm honored and humbled to be inducted into the American Powerboat Hall of Champions in the modified category. Thank you very much.
Competing in 4 modified outboard classes, 350 mod runabout, 750 mod runabout, 750 mod hydro, and 850 mod runabout, 32-year boat racing veteran Brian Boyd is making his first appearance in the APBA Hall of Champions. Quantity was the story of Boyd's season, winning Central Divisional Championships in 350 mod runabout, 750 mod runabout, and 850 mod runabout, as well as high point titles in all 3 classes.
Please welcome Mr. Brian Boyd.
Thank you. I have my own cheering crowd. Short and sweet here. First of all, I would like to thank someone who unfortunately passed away last year. His name was Don Wagner. He introduced me into boat racing almost 35 years ago, and I couldn't ask for a better family sport to get into. I want to thank my mom, Karen, for all her love and support. My son, Brandon, an excellent boat racer. Brandon, stop texting and pay attention. You're going to be up here next year. Ed Weiner, tremendous support for me and Brandon. Dave Brill built the horsepower behind me, along with Gary Miller and Jason Hay. Jason Dirksen, who keeps our boats together. At any given race, Brandon and I run 5, 6, or 7 different classes, and we couldn't do it without the help of Dave Brightman. Throughout the season, I hear people complain when they break down something about those damn Vanover mags. I don't know. Mine lasted all season. Thanks, Eric. I want to thank Steve Dunn for building a boat that will survive a 90-mile-an-hour blowover and over. And Mary Williams and Austin Vanover for telling me the last club race that I had a chance to be up here, because I had no idea. And I want to thank each and every one of you, and I appreciate everything you've done. And here's to the Indiana Outboard Association and Midwest Modified Outboard Racing.
Through all of his racing in 2014, it was modified outboard that earned J. Michael Kelly a trip to the APBA Hall of Champions. Making his 5th overall induction into the APBA Hall of Champions, J. Michael won the 500 Mod Hydro Western Divisional title, as well as the Summer National Championship and the High Point title. J. Michael closed his season out with a 500 Mod Hydro, 5-mile, 4-lap competition record at 68.729 miles per hour.
Please welcome J. Michael Kelly.
I feel very honored to have been inducted in the Hall of Champions. A part of this accomplishment doesn't come easy. It takes a lot of dedication, hard work, luck, money, and a lot of help from other people. If it wasn't for all of that, I wouldn't be up here. It's hard to believe that I've been actually racing a boat for 27 years. I still remember my very first boat race. It was at Silver Lake Everett in Washington. Rick Sandstrom was the chief referee at the time. I remember him telling me before I went out for my first test to keep all the buoys to my left, which I did. However, I remember thinking to myself while I was out there, it's like, I can't believe we raced this close to the docks. So when I came in, my dad said, you know, good job, but Rick Sandstrom, chief referee, wants to see you. And I was like, dang, I haven't even raced yet, and I'm already getting in trouble. I went and saw Rick, and he said, you know, why did you go around all the outer course markers? I was like, well, duh, you told me to keep all the buoys to my left, and that's what I did. And he was like, well, not those ones, you know, but good job. Go have fun. Be safe. My run for the Hall of Champions started 3 months before this season. Dean Hobart and myself decided we wanted to go race 500cc Mod Hydro. The only problem was that we didn't have any equipment. I'd already knew what kind of boat I wanted after driving Colin Rucker's C-Stock Hydro, but I wasn't sure I could get one. I wanted a dart craft that was built by Don Anderson. Well, we were in luck because that's who built all Dean's boats back in the day. Don started building the boat, and it seemed like it was overnight. Before he got the boat done. Don is truly an amazing boat builder and designer. The boat that he built us was absolutely beautiful and perfect. The next thing was we needed a motor. We got our motor out of England, and then it was off to our engine builder, Steve Benson. It seemed like it was every week, all the way up until, you know, even through the summertime, but I was there tweaking on it, trying to get every ounce, you know, out of it. We truly had an amazing season, 500cc Mod Hydro, setting a record, winning divisionals, winning nationals, and winning the National High Point Championship. Hard work and dedication did pay off. My summer was very busy, not only with 500cc Mod Hydro, but also in stock outboard, inboard, and unlimiteds. I had an amazing year in all categories, in stock finishing runner-up in high points in C-Stock Hydro and 20 Hydro, also setting 2 records in C-Stock Hydro, winning national high points in Western Divisionals and 5-liter, and in the unlimiteds winning 4 out of 6 races and being crowned world champion. I've been blessed with the opportunities in life, and I'm truly grateful for the family and friends that I've made in boat racing. So with that, I want to thank my dad, my mom, my stepdad, my stepmom, my wife, Angela,
both my boys, Brennan and Carson, Dean Hobart, Don Anderson, Steve Benson, Sean and Dan Burns, Rob Graham, my sister Christina, my friends Scott, Jason, Will Fritz, and Dave Trisco. Without you guys, none of this would have been possible. Thank you.
In just his 5th year of racing, OPC driver Robert Rinker is making his 3rd overall induction into the APBA Hall of Champions. With the help of his dad Terry Rinker and crew chief James Chambers, Robert and the Amsoil 30 captured the SST 200 Central Divisional Championship, the SST 200 Region Championship, the SST 200 Summer National Championship, and through his 9 best races, Robert captured the SST 200 High Point Championship with 5,500 total points.
Rob Rinker was the only inductee unable to be with us tonight, but please give a round of applause to Rob Rinker.
Racing boats for just over 35 years, OPC driver Mark Scharbach has finally earned his first induction into the APBA Hall of Champions. Competing in SST 45, Scharbach won the U.S. F1 Series Championship, the North American Championship, the Summer National Championship, and through lots of hard work and preparation, Scharbach and his boat owner Bud Nolan won the SST 45 High Point Championship.
Please welcome Mark Scharbach.
Wow. Thank you, Ed. I want to thank APBA and the Hall of Champions Committee for this award. I'm very humbled because of all the great past and present drivers that have had the great honor of being inducted into the APBA Hall of Champions and what it means to receive one of the highest honors the sport has to offer. For the past 3 years, the last race has come down between 2 drivers in a winner-take-all scenario, RJ West and myself. Well, the last 2 years, RJ was standing here. He won. This year, we won. Cannot say enough about what a great competitor RJ was, or is. My passion for the sport, whether it was in my early days in stock outboard or my current time in OPC, has brought a lot of great memories and friendships with drivers, their families, race officials, sponsors throughout the country. This award was all made possible by the US F1 Powerboat Tour. This was certainly one of the toughest, most competitive and fair race formats that I have ever raced. I would like to recognize Jose Madonna Jr. for his outstanding job with the US F1 Powerboat Tour and elevating the SST 45 class, racing with the elite Formula Ones, SST 120s, and SST 200s, creating a sponsor's dream and putting on a phenomenal show. A huge thank you goes to our series sponsors for making it all possible. Greg Jacobson, Seaway Marine, David DeWald, DeWald Propellers, NGK Spark Plugs, CDI Electronics, AMSOIL, MarineEngines.com, and all the other race site sponsors, and all the drivers, crews, and families. A special thank you to Legacy Ministry, Lori and Jan Vidal. I would like to acknowledge my sponsors. What's really cool tonight is one of my first sponsors in OPC Racing is here tonight, Elaine Rico of Rico's Tortillas in Bay City, Michigan. Currently, Pizza Inn, Donnie Broussard, Port Neches, Texas. Jerry's Marine, Jerry Pettifer, Sulphur, Texas. PNC Bank, Ronnie Rule, Trenton, Michigan. I would also like to thank Gary Pugh Race Boats, and boy, what a great boat. And a special thanks to David DeWald. I would like to also recognize some people that helped me along the way. Steve Warnock, Chris Eaton, Sam Hemp, and the whole B&H race team. Jim Merton Jr., Merton Marine, Mike Wienert Performance, and my buddy Sam LeBanco. My sincerest appreciation to the following. Dave Hemp, Spud, for being part of my race team from the beginning. Boy, how did we ever get along? Bud Noman, for his generosity and support. Well, about 5 years ago, at our first race of the season at Port Neches, our last qualifying heat of the week, of the Saturday, Bud had the pole position. As we were launching our boats, Bud walked over to me and said, "That's it." And he took off his life jacket. That same heat, I had a racing incident in which my boat was damaged beyond repair. As I was walking back to the pits, Bud came up to me and said, "Well, since my boat's damaged, use mine." So the next race, and ever since, I've raced his boat. We'll talk about luck. Without the events of Port Neches that weekend, I would not be standing here tonight. I'm extremely grateful to Bud's crew, Mike Peel, Don Wilson, Stan Meyer, and Tebow. Fred Miller, where do I begin? He has done so much for the sport, APBA, and the Hall of Champions, and especially the 45 class. But out of everything he has done for the drivers and race sites, Fred has become a great, great friend to Mary and myself. Ron Thomas. Everyone needs a mentor, and I consider Ron to be my mentor. And boy, did I luck out. It would take me all night to express what he means to me. In closing, I'd like to thank my wife, Mary, for her love and support, my mother, and the rest of our family. Mary, along with all those mentioned here tonight, deserve much of the credit for me standing here. Thank you again.
Having a banner year in 2014, competing in one of offshore's most competitive classes, the Class 5 Cisco No Bullies team of driver John Cohen and throttle man Eddie Simmons pulled through the season with 6 wins, including the Summer National Championship and the High Point title. With the help of boat owner Kevin Condon and John Cohen Jr., Cisco No Bullies earned the most total points in all of APBA offshore racing.
Please welcome Cisco No Bullies driver John Cohen and throttle man Eddie Simmons, as well as their owner, Kevin Condon.
Hi, everyone. I guess in the offshore, it's hard to understand why it takes 2 people to run one boat. But I couldn't do it without this guy. I did have a mishap this week, and I didn't think I would make it. So I've asked Kevin, our team owner. Without him, we wouldn't be here anyway to speak for us. I got released from the hospital on Thursday, and they let me fly. So here I am, and I was able to make it. This is John, and this is Kevin.
It's been a 7-year hiatus, and we're thrilled that the APBA is brought offshore back into the family. It's great to get back with Ann Fitzgerald and the group from Region 3 after running 5-liter inboards there, albeit 3 decades ago. I will tell you that I have an unparalleled opportunity, and just thoroughly impressed with these gentlemen that I've got to know over the last 2 years. Both very successful, very competitive, and just 2 fine individuals. Eddie on the sticks, as he basically doesn't blow up my engine, that's greatly appreciated. And John, and when you think about the dynamics, I'm typically asked, you've got a boat with 2 people in there. So is it, half the work that each one can then share? I will tell you, it's very, very busy in that cockpit. John's driving it, and Eddie's got to go wherever John puts him. But Eddie's over in that cockpit. He's running that throttle. He's running the trim tabs, adjusting that outdrive. We're bracket class. He's watching that GPS, because if we bounce over that maximum speed, we're disqualified. So, there's a intercom between both helmets, and I can tell you, there are many different opinions as to what to do at any given point. How these 2 individuals come up with the chemistry to pull it off, I would love to hear what goes on, and I can tell you there are 2 words that just don't enter into that conversation during the race. Please and thank you. That's just not in that conversation. There's a lot of trust, and Eddie will tell you maybe lunacy, but these guys, in the midst of a tremendously competitive group of individuals, like everybody else, if something's wrong, if someone needs a part, there's a tremendous amount of help that goes on. Through the course of the season, we were also able to carry a great, I think, community message too. And as our name implies, no bullies. Across the side of our boat, we have the national chat line, or the national helpline for bullying. Unfortunately, there's too many young individuals making some fateful decisions. So it's our hope that simply because we've got a lot of eyeballs on a race boat, maybe we'll have the opportunity that one person, when they think no one's listening, will reach out, tag that helpline, and get the help they need. I'd like to recognize a couple people here. Monty Klein builds a phenomenal, I'd love to say bulletproof. As soon as I say that, it might blow. No, I can tell you that 18 races on that engine, and we beat it up. It's still running strong. So thank you, Monty Klein. Also, the boat itself is a super boat. John Cohen stands here. His father, John Cohen Sr., sits at our table. John built the boat 13 years ago. You built a phenomenal boat. It turns on the rails. It's a good part of the success. So thank you very much. And he still continues to make great boats. I'd like to thank the APBA for giving us this opportunity to really reflect back on the season, and to sit back and just, think about all the great achievements that everyone here has done. So my congratulations certainly to everyone, all the drivers, on what you've achieved tonight. With that, thank you very much.
With over 65 career wins, Team Octane driver and owner Jim Simmons is making his first trip to the APBA Hall of Champions. Joining Simmons in the Hall of Champions is throttle man Robert Masakowski. Masakowski is also making his first trip to the APBA Hall of Champions. The team of Simmons and Masakowski raced together in every APBA race conducted for Super V Light and Class 4. They won the APBA National High Point Championship in Class 4. However, it was their consistent performance in Super V Light that earned induction into the APBA Hall of Champions.
Please welcome Team Octane driver Jim Simmons and Bob Masakowski.
Go ahead.
Congratulations, Jimmy. We'd like to thank everybody that was involved with us this year. A couple of them are here: Paul Rose, Hank, Scott, all the team back at Simmons Racing, Eddie that worked with me on the boat plenty of nights at the Turnkey Marine Shop. For us, it's been a long road to finally get up here. Jim started racing with it in mind that he might be able to get into Hall of Champions one day. I just dreamed about it because I used to see all our brothers do it. And then in 06 was last year. And then now that we're back, we're really glad to be here. We want to thank APBA for whatever they did to help get the offshore back into the scene again. We look forward to doing that more. Got to thank my family, my girls. They're all here this weekend. Mary stood by me for the last 10 years through all this crazy offshore racing stuff. And she said, "Are you done yet?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I think I'm done." And well, Jim made sure that didn't happen. He snuck up and brought me right back into the game again. But their sacrifice, as well as Carol being there for 20 something years involved in offshore racing with Jim, and very patient and always supportive of that. We'd also like to thank the people that are not here. There's people that we had a 3 race boat team, so all the teams couldn't make it. You had Dale, you had Carlos, and the Pirate Racing team of the Denims. So thank you, APBA, for getting us back. We hope to continue this and be here many years to come. Thank you.
Competing in 2 inboard classes this season, 1.5 liter stock and 2.5 liter stock, it was John Shaw's 2.5 liter stock resume that earned him his first induction into the APBA Hall of Champions. Shaw from Lincoln, Delaware, and boat owner Willard Wilson from Newport, Delaware, traveled all along the eastern United States in 2014, winning an Eastern Divisional Championship in Hampton, Virginia, a Summer National Championship in Waterford, Michigan, and Lil Electron set a quarter-mile straightaway record in New Martinsville, West Virginia at 76.459 miles per hour.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Shaw.
Thank you, Ed. 2014 was truly an outstanding season for the teams I'm a part of. The T1 Trophy Hunter, we finished second in high points, won a Summer Nationals and the Eastern Divisionals in a boat that's a little over 20 years old. We didn't have a single day DNF all season. Willard's S145 Little Electron also won the Summer Nationals and Eastern Divisionals. We also set the quarter-mile straightaway record. It was kind of a last-minute deal to go out there. We won 19 out of 30 heats we entered, which wasn't too bad for the first season. We ran a brand new boat. We had a few engine gremlins, a couple boat issues, and Mother Nature that kind of hindered us from winning our national championship. We ended up about 30 points short. In order to be up here, it definitely takes a lot of luck, which to me is when opportunity meets preparation and hard work. Without the team that I drive for, I definitely wouldn't be standing here. I'd like to thank the owners, Wayne Hagatha and Willard Wilson, for the opportunity to drive their equipment, and they give me everything I need to be as successful as we are and compete at the level we do. Many say that getting inducted into the Hall of Champions is the highest honor that a driver can get. I look at it a little bit differently. For me, it's the highest honor a team can be awarded. The difference between success and failure is a great team. I definitely have a couple. Thanks to the entire Pennzoil and Budget Buster racing crew, the big mass of yellow in the pits. For those of you inboarders, you know what I'm talking about. That includes Dave Henning, Matt Henning, Fred and Todd, Jen and Jamie McClure, Tom Hines and Michelle Morgan, then Jim Rowe and the rest of the guys at Accurate Machining, who put together some incredible motors and put them back together after we got inspected so we can go race the following weekend. Then there's my good friends and family. How could I forget my biggest fan, the man, the myth, the legend, John Fitzgerald. If you know how I'm talking about, he's bigger than life. When I first started racing, John was always there after every heat, giving me pointers, telling me what to do, what I did wrong, what I did good. He was the one that between him and my father were the one that turned me into the driver that I am today. Then there's my family. Without this, I definitely would not be standing here. I wouldn't be involved in this. I have the best parents in the world and can't thank them enough for all they do for me, my brother and sister, for us to go racing. We've spent countless hours traveling almost every weekend all summer, countless hours in the garage every weeknight working on the boat. I'm grateful for all the sacrifices they made just for us to go racing. For my dad driving all night to and from all the races when I was still in school, when we couldn't leave till 4 o'clock and had to be back for 7 a.m. so I could teach. It's funny. Willard trusts me driving his boat. Dad doesn't trust me driving his new motorhome. Then there's my mom. Most of you guys know her. She always reminded me to send in my entry blanks and then reminded me about 10 times a day what the travel plans were for the week. I'd also like to give a little shout out to my twin sister, who started racing this year for the first time and was one of the inboard rookies of the year. And she's always had my back. Lastly, my brother, and who's also my landlord, who was pretty lenient on the rent payments all summer long, so I could go racing every weekend. Even though I think my rent should have been prorated all summer since I really wasn't home. There's 3 people I really need to give a special thanks to. The first off is Willard. He's been racing forever. He's an icon in 2.5 stocks. He's given me the opportunity to drive for him and provided me with everything we needed to be competitive. We had the best of everything. This year, Willard amazed me the last race of the year when we ended up deciding Sunday night, the weekend before, to head out to the quarter mile. So he reaches into the prop box and grabs a prop and goes, I think we're going to run 100 mile an hour. Sure enough, we went 100.2. I guess that's why they call him the Wizard 2.5 stock and Mr. 145. Then there's Ray Lynn. The boat, I've known about the boat for the past couple of years, and every year it's going to be done, and it never quite happened. Then this year, I should say last summer, Ray got involved. Ray started putting the boat together, and it's incredible. Ray went and repaired the boat after a couple of rut rows, and even after a couple of bumps and bruises, the boat was always repaired, and the Big Bird Yellow was always touched up between weekends, and always in immaculate condition and ready to race, and always for the front. Ray's motto is perfection is almost good enough. Another person I need to thank is Hank Wendt, who kept putting my name in Willard's ear to drive the new boat. He was a great mentor to me, and I only wish he got a chance to see the boat run. I would like to congratulate all the inductees tonight and take a moment to congratulate Tommy Thompson and the entire English family for another outstanding season, and congratulate Jim Seckler and Dan Camfush on a spectacular ending to an incredible career. I can't wait for the 2015 season to start in 40 days down in Lakeland. See you all there.
Through his 10 best races in 2014, A52 Fat Chance 2 driver Tom Thompson from Cambridge, Maryland, earned himself a 2.5-liter modified Western Divisional Championship, a Summer National Championship, and a High Point Championship, accumulating 1,400 total points. With the help of boat owners R. Royce Richards from Troy, Michigan, and George English from Youngsville, Louisiana, Thompson has earned his 4th APBA Hall of Champions induction in a 6-year span.
Please welcome Tom Thompson.
I guess it gets repetitive to say this light's really bright. I would have thought by now somebody might have toned it down a little, but I guess that's not going to happen. It's a great honor to stand up here and to speak about what it takes to get here. It's a great honor to stand up here with all the other inductees and all of them saying pretty much the same thing other than the people, that it takes a great team for anyone to stand here and get this award. Like everyone else, I also have a great team. I started driving for Randy and George English in the late 1980s. So we've had quite a relationship, and I call Randy my brother. Along with this, we have great team members, and John Lahone with an engine builder. John Stalker does our boats. Judy Weiner, which is Randy's sister, who is always there to tell me what I need to do, especially when my wife cannot make it. Royce and Kathy Richards, you can't say enough about those two and everything they do for boat racing in general, but I cannot thank them enough for everything they do for our team. There's so many things involved in a great team. And I have always said, no matter what team I drive for, that I have the easy part, because I get to sit down and run around in circles. I don't have to figure out why the engine doesn't work. I don't have to figure out how to make it work its best. I don't have to figure out what to do to the prop. All I have to do is give a little bit of information. And I know, John, I aggravate you sometimes because I don't give you enough information. But when things are running good and we're out in front, there's not a whole lot of information to give you, even though you want to get better and better at what we do. Again, I can't thank everyone in here enough. I can't congratulate everyone in here enough for all the work that they do and all the work it takes to get here. It's an honor. I got asked earlier today, what's it like to be inducted for the 4th time? Well, I can't speak for Ed Hearn on 18 or Dan Canfouche on 10 or the other guys that have more than 4. But for me, obviously the first time means a lot because it's so hard to get here. But because it's so hard to get here, every time I get here is like the first. It means that much to me. Thank Joan English for everything she does for me, for keeping me in the boat. And then lastly, my wife, Chrissy, and my daughter, Savannah, for supporting me for over 31 years, at least my wife, not my daughter, and always being by my side and being my strength. Thank you again to everyone. Thanks a lot.
Over the past decade, no inboard driver has been as consistent as Y1 driver Dan Canfouche, with 9 APBA Hall of Champions inductions over that span. This year, Canfouche from Grand Island, New York, and boat owner Jim Seckler from Farmington Hills, Michigan, continued their winning ways with a 1-liter modified Western Divisional Championship, a 1-mile closed course record at 86.576 miles per hour, their 10th Summer National Championship in a row, and their 10th straight High Point Championship. In his last race of the year and his career after announcing his retirement from boat racing, Canfouche went on to set a 1/4-mile straightaway record at 115.281 miles per hour in New Martinsville, West Virginia.
For the final time, Mr. Dan Canfouche.
Ryan, I'm putting this down for you like 5 times. Ryan, can you make sure you put the microphone down? So here's how you know that it's time to retire. You got to put these on for the first time in 10 years. It's funny. We're standing down waiting for our pictures, and Jimmy Shane and I are having a little chat. And he goes, "You realize you're a major nose scratcher." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Dude, you get up there. You're so nervous. You're like," I'm like, "Shut up, Jimmy. No way, right?" I come up early to do the Bruce's award. I stood up here, and before I said one word, I went, so Jimmy was right. I admit it. So anyway, congratulations to all the inductees tonight, especially the first timers. And as I've said multiple times, your first time induction is the most special. I know I disagree with Tommy on that one, but that's just how it is for me. One thing I didn't hear mentioned tonight is for the first time inductees, you may not know, but it is tradition for the first time inductees to buy beer for the rest of us all night. So if we could keep the tradition going, that'd be great, guys. it is a bittersweet evening for me. As was alluded to earlier, I'm standing here for my 9th induction in the Hall of Champions, and it's going to be my last induction. I've decided it's time to retire. While I still love the driving, the technical aspects of racing, it's the long hours of travel to and from the races in conjunction with my ever increasing travel load for my job that actually pays me. It's become too much, and it's time. It's not an easy decision, and while I do feel the time is right, I still get a lump in my throat every time I think about it too much. Last night I had to give a speech at the inboard banquet, and I pretty much cried like a baby, but we got through it. Our season started in Lakeland, Florida last March, where we bumped the 1 mile record. I was still shaking off the winter rust and had a terrible start. I was going about 40 mile an hour at the line, and somehow we were still able to bump the record. We cracked our best prop in the process. The next day we had better water. I nailed the start, and we missed the record by 3 seconds. I'm starting to think those little prop thingies are kind of important. We went on to win the Summer Nationals for the 10th straight time. I'm really proud of that particular achievement, and I know that Jim Seckler is too. There's so many things that can happen, many out of your control, that can take that win away, and to be able to win 10 in a row with our team I think it's pretty special. We won the Western Divisionals out in Washington against what I'm sure is the absolute fastest and strongest 1-liter modified field ever. We had the fastest boats from Region 10, Marty Hammersmith from Region 6, Joe Sovey, who made a stealth trip out from Region 2. He was really proud of himself just to show up. Surprised us all. In my opinion, it was the 10 fastest 1-liters in the country to race. It was a lot of pressure, and it was a lot of fun. The Eastern Divisionals, that thing has been our nemesis from day one. I'll tell you what, we've found every way to lose that. This year was no exception. We had a spark plug wire fall off on the last lap. We're kind of new at this, so you expect those things to happen. As a bookend of the season, we finished at New Martinsville running the quarter-mile traps. On Sunday, my last day of driving, honest, my last day, I know what all my friends say, we bumped the quarter-mile record from 112.2 to 115.281 miles an hour. Jim Seckler is the boat owner. I went through the traps in the upstream direction at 114.9. This is well over the record we had just bumped the day before. I knew it was a good pass. Then I hear Jim on the radio. That was good. You need to make the next pass really good. Good thing Jim reminded me. I was thinking about just, idling through. But I will never forget the emotion of setting that record. I mean, we've set 18 or 19 of them, and that was kind of cool, that last one. We get back to the dock, share that moment with Jim, and I think it was a pinnacle moment of our career. It was a testament to the power that Jim put in the boat, the setup that the team put under the boat, and my ability to put my foot to the floor, close my eyes, and scream like a baby. I hate those things. I'm so happy that tonight my wife Lynn and son Eddie are here to share this evening with me. Lynn has been totally supportive throughout my racing career. She went to the races when she could. She never complained about the hectic race schedule that saw me crossing the country to Florida and Region 10 multiple times each year without her and Eddie. It was hard at times, but she just accepted that was part of me she married into. Thank you, Lynn. I love you very much. The first time I was up here was in 2005, and Eddie was 2 years old. He's 12 now. In another year, he'll almost certainly be taller than me. I know Eddie is going to miss racing most out of all of us. He's a huge fan. He knows all the boats. He's our APBA historian. He knows all the drivers. He's going to miss it the most. For Christmas, he got a pretty cool RC Hydro. He seems to really like it. It's been sitting on our dining room table since Christmas Day. I want to one last time thank Jim and Jules for allowing me to drive what I believe is one of the most dominant boats in APBA history. This is something I will take with me the rest of my life. We worked hard, we had fun, and as an added bonus, we won a few races. Thank you, guys. Tim Collins was a great crew member who did all the cross-country towing. He was involved in endless arguments about setup and was right most of the time. His most important team contribution was carrying me to and from the boat when there were no docks. I was really worried he was going to throw me in that one last time. So what does the future bring for Fast Eddie 2 Racing? Jim Seckler sold the boat, but will remain involved in building engines for several teams. He will also continue with his duties as the inboard technical committee chair, and he will continue pissing someone off with pretty much every decision they make. Hard to please everyone, I guess, Jim. Jim's wife, Jules, will continue packing Jim's bags for all the races he is still going to go to, even though he says he's retired. Tim Collins is talking about getting a 1-liter for himself. He keeps asking me to drive it, and I keep telling him no, I don't think he understands. Eddie would continue on as a fan, cheering for our old boat that would campaigned by Marty Hammersmith. Maybe we can talk Eddie into being the crew chief for Shelby Bowser in her J stock. That would be a lot of fun. Lynn and I would be sitting by our pool, sipping a few Coronas on those Friday nights that we used to drive 8 hours to get to the next race. Something tells me we were going to really enjoy that. If you're a Facebook friend of mine, you know that I have taken up golf. I knew I'd need something to try and fill a competitive void. I can tell you that I'm working as hard on my golf game as I ever did on my race boats. I will also tell you that I really suck right now. I wish Steve David was here. I wanted to ask him where he got those white belts and the pastel pants that go up over the belly button. Maybe that would help my game. In all seriousness, we are not going away. We have every intention of going a few races this year as spectators to be with our friends. I will be in Dayton to help with the driving school, and there is talk that Jim and I may be the race chairman for a race this year. Thank you to everyone involved with putting on the Hall of Champions banquet. It is always a top-notch event. I want to recognize all my friends in APBA, CBF, ACHA. We have made so many friends over all of North America. The trophies and the championships, the records, they're great. But in reality, it is the 23 years of stories and the friends that have made this an awesome ride. Thank you.
After 20 years in boat racing, Abby Pond from Midlothian, Virginia, has finally earned her first induction into the APBA Hall of Champions. Competing in A-Stock Runabout, A-Stock Hydro, and B-Stock Hydro, Pond is the first woman since J-Stock Runabout driver Beth Hearn in 1987 to be inducted into the APBA Hall of Champions through the stock outboard category. In 2014, Pond won an ASH Southeastern Divisional Championship, a Winter National Championship in ASH and BSH, as well as High Point Championships in both ASH and BSH. Pond also set 3/4-mile straightaway records this year, one in ASR at 56.712 miles per hour, one in ASH at 58.848 miles per hour, and one in BSH at 67.156 miles per hour.
Please welcome Miss Abby Pond.
Really right up here. So who would have thought Gary Pond's daughter would be so nervous about public speaking? I thought this might be easier if I had something to sell while I was standing up here. But it's such an honor to be here this evening accepting this award. And when I found out I was going to be inducted in the Hall of Champions, I began reflecting on this season and what an awesome year it's been. We started out with the Winter Nationals in Jessup, Georgia, and we took a win in A-Stock Hydro and B-Stock Hydro. And the season continued to be great. We went to as many races as we could. We did a lot of testing, and I was able to travel to Moses Lake for the Summer Nationals. I want to thank the Nichols family for taking everything out there and for feeding us all week. Jesse and I drove out to the Nationals with John and Ryan Runny, and needless to say, that was a pretty epic trip. I jumped the gun in the finals of A Hydro. I know Dad wasn't too happy about that, but luckily Christine Brewster talked him into buying the winning Tohatsu ticket. So it wasn't a complete loss. Thanks, Christine. I appreciate that. And it wasn't after my trip to the Nationals that we started looking at high points and realized that I was doing pretty well in A Hydro and B Hydro. And that's when we decided to go to the record runs in West Virginia. And we set 3 records there in A-Stock Hydro, B-Stock Hydro, and A-Stock Runabout. And there were lots of people that helped with that accomplishment. Dave Bennett, Bobby and Harry Austin, Matt DiAugustino, Rich and Dylan Runny, Jeff Brewster, and the Sweeney family. And after the record runs, we just kept on racing. I got to finish my season with an awesome points battle in B Stock Hydro with Ryan Runny, who's one of my closest friends. So it was a very fun season. And so not only did I reflect on this previous race season, but I also began thinking about all the previous race seasons. I started racing J-Stock runabout 20 years ago, and I remember my first race was at Lock Haven, Pennsylvania. My dad had bought me this little flat turning runabout. It was called the Cookie Monster, and he got that from Rich Runny, and that's where it all started. And I ended up wrecking that boat, and I wrecked a lot of other boats and cars too. Sorry, Dad and George. But while thinking back to all those years growing up boat racing, I just began thinking about how grateful I am to be included in this unique sport with such an amazing group of people. And there's so many people that that have helped throughout the years, and I know I won't be able to mention everyone, but there are a few people that I want to mention, and that's Billy and Jean Simmons, Pat and Ron France, Craig DeWald, the Runny family, and I mean the whole Runny family, John, Ed, Rich, and all their families, the Shanes, Matt and Valerie D'Agostino, George Stowell, Jerry Davids, and Joyce Golly, Billy Allen, Lori Allen, George Luce, Dave Bennett, and the entire Team Red. You guys are all like family to me, and I know that if I ever need anything, help, whether it's on the race course or off the race course, I know that you guys will be there for me and that you have my back no matter what. So I really appreciate all of you. I want to thank my family for all their support. First, I want to thank my sister, Amy. At our local races, Amy can be found in registration or on the judges stand. And I know she'd much rather be in the pits hanging out with us, or maybe even catching up on a few extra hours of sleep, but instead she spends her entire day volunteering so that we can race. She's also my pit crew, she's my travel buddy, and she's my toughest competition in Party Stock Hydro. So I also want to thank my fiance, Jesse Swain. So Jesse asked me to marry him this fall. And so just to let you guys know, we'll be registered with DeWald Props, Bennett Boat Factory, and David Motorsports. And I'm just so happy that I found someone that's just as passionate about this sport as I am. Jesse puts his own racing aside to be the referee at our local races and to help me make it out on the water for all my heats. Thank you for that. Thank you for buying a sweet van that became our second home this summer. Thanks for being okay with living off sandwiches and using the lake for a shower. Now I don't have to be weird by myself. And most importantly, I really want to thank my mom and dad for all that they do for me. Being a former A Hydro and runabout driver, I know that my mom understands how important this is to me. She doesn't mind taking trips to Wilson or to Tabor City instead of maybe taking a beach vacation to Nags Head. And instead of building the new Florida room, we got a new B Hydro and a Sidewinder. So, and to my dad, the person who really made all this possible, thanks for all the hours you spend in the garage. Thanks for all the time and the money and effort that you spend to make these motors mighty powerful. And thanks for setting such a great example by helping so many other people out as well. I don't know how many people come up to me and tell me they never would have made it out for their heat or never would have won that race if it weren't for you. And that's what boat racing's all about. And there's just one more thing I want to say. So it'll be the tough part, but growing up, my favorite person to race against was always my little brother, Travis. And I was always sure that it would be him standing up here instead of me. And I know it probably would have been a lot more entertaining, but I miss him, and I just really wish he was here tonight. Thank you.
In 2014, five-time summer national champion Donnie Allen from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, added to his total this year by winning 3 summer national championships. 1 in 20 super stock hydro, 1 in C stock hydro, and 1 in A stock hydro. Allen also added a Central Divisional 20 SSH championship to his resume, as well as 2 more High Point championships to his total by collecting 6,200 points in his 14 best 20 SSH races and 5,483 total points in his 14 best CSH races. This year, Allen earned his 4th overall APBA Hall of Champions induction in 6 years.
Please welcome Mr. Donnie Allen.
So I'm lucky enough to follow Abby after that, which is it was a tough one. I know Travis would definitely be proud, and a lot of us think about him all the time. But you know, to piggyback off of a lot of what she said, there was a quote I found. It said, "A good life is when you smile often, dream big, laugh a lot, and realize how lucky you are for what you have." And that really summarizes, I think, what a lot of us think about and feel when we do this sport, and how lucky we all are to have, you know, really one another and family and the opportunity to do it. APBA for putting this on, and the whole committee. I'm very, very grateful. Yeah, I mean, it was a very memorable year. You know, I mean, you look back and we barely even went to the Nationals. I got married this October, and when you're running through all the numbers and finances with a wedding and a trip across the country, it's always tough. But it was fun, obviously successful. We traveled with a whole bunch of friends, and almost got arrested in Yellowstone Park. I mean, all kinds of stuff that you could go through. But I mean, the funniest part was when we were going home, and it's probably our best memory, even as a team, is we're driving home. And I mean, even when you're, however long you've been boat racing, when you see another racing trailer on the highway, you get really, really excited. You're like, oh my God, there's a boat racing trailer. So of course you have to pass them, because I mean, it's boat racing, and you're not gonna not pass them. So we pull up alongside this enclosed trailer, and we had already recognized it was Pat Gleason. So we pull up right next to him, and usually people kind of see you coming and they're looking in the mirrors, and Pat didn't really acknowledge us at all. And we're like, what the heck? Maybe he's mad at us. I mean, we weren't from the region and we won a lot. Maybe he was like super mad about it or something. And I mean, we got a kid in the back of the truck. He's wearing like a horse head, and he's like waving at him and like nothing. And then we look over and we see him with 2 hands on the wheel, and his wife is feeding him ice cream into his mouth. So he's looking over at her and straight ahead. I mean, we were next to him for like 2 minutes, and the whole time she's like feeding him spoonful. And finally he saw us, and we were laughing so hard. I mean, it was, yeah, I don't know how you summarize, but it really was awesome. But you know, I won 3 nationals, which is something I could never even dreamed of. And I can thank a lot of people later, but you know, the biggest accomplishment I had was I won the Race for Chaos race, which is a memorial race for Kevin Ladd, who was a real good friend of ours. And I won this watch. It's a part of the deal. I wear it every day. I broke it already. So I had to take it in and get it fixed already. But I mean, that really, when I won that race, the whole season was already a success, because I've wanted to win that one for a long time. So that was a real solid accomplishment. And you know, I'm a school teacher, so you don't get in the Hall of Champions 4 times being a school teacher without a lot of help in a lot of ways, because we don't get paid a whole lot. So you're definitely grateful for the people that you have, and a lot of the thank yous. I mean, go through them all, but Joe Pater and the Paters, Richard Hearn for giving me the fastest second rig probably in the country, I guess. I don't know, in a hydro. So I thank that. And Grant, thanks for the boat, and Tori for the boat. Mike Pavlick. I mean, you start talking about when families that aren't yours feel more like family. The Pavlicks are definitely one of them. The Shepherds, Jim Sobel, the DeWalds, of course. I mean, everybody thanks the DeWalds, and I mean, that just shows how an integral part that they are. My siblings, I have a couple siblings here, Monica and Thomas, which is always great having them. My parents, obviously, everybody's always thankful for their parents, but they were both boat racers. I wouldn't be here without them. Yeah, I mean, you get thankful every day, and you really think about it. And I mean, I just think back to that quote, and you just really appreciate it every single time. And like others have said, it never gets old being up here. It's wonderful. I love the sport. I love everything about it. Our racing club, Badger State Outboard, all the workers, everybody, the scorers, the people who put this on, the referees. There's so many people who never get thanked and don't win the honor squadron and do all this stuff. But I mean, we really genuinely would never be doing it without people. So congratulations and thank you to every one of those people. Seattle Outboard, thank you for putting on a great nationals, and yeah, whatever. Go Packers, I guess. I don't even know what to say. I don't know, it just puts it all into perspective and importance. And you know, my main thank you, besides all those people, because it would never ever be possible, is you know, I think the biggest accomplishment I had the whole year was I somehow convinced somebody to marry me, which was pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I'm not a real normal person when it comes to daily life, and in a lot of ways. And my wife Angie, who you always hear people give the speeches, and they're talking about their wives, and they're so thankful, and like, yeah, I could see that someday. And I mean, I genuinely mean that, because I guess when you go to plan a wedding and you go through the race weekends, and you pretty much have to tell the person, well, you got either the weekend before the race season starts or the weekend after the race season starts. And when they're comfortable with that, you know, you have it made. And when you have an outdoor wedding and it's 35 degrees and snowing, you really appreciate how much the wives and the families let you do this. And I love her to death. I really do. So thank you, Angie. And yeah, appreciate it.
Driving for a new team in 2014, reigning unlimited national champion Jimmy Shane looked to continue his winning ways with the U6 Oberto Miss Madison, and he did just that. With victories in Tri-Cities and Detroit, Shane was able to accumulate the most total points in unlimited racing and earn his 5th overall induction into the APBA Hall of Champions. The highlight of Shane's season came when he recorded the fastest competition lap ever on the Detroit River at 160.3 miles per hour, which helped propel him to his first APBA Gold Cup victory and the first for Miss Madison in 43 years.
Please welcome Jimmy Shane.
Well, thank you very much. It's once again an honor to be up here for the Hall of Champions, especially 2 times in the unlimited category. I never thought I'd be in this position, and it really is a great honor to be up here. Many people think that the Hall of Champions is a personal achievement, and it really is not. And I've heard a lot of people come up here, a lot of the other champions come up here, and they really proved a point that it's not just a special person or a special driver to get up here. It's special people that surround you. And I am no different than anyone else in this room. We're all here today because everybody in the room has supported one another in our sport and our organization. And it's a night for everybody in this room to be proud of each other. And I'm just lucky to be up here being the recipient of even being up here 5 times, it still is, it's a tough spot to be in, but to be the representative for the unlimited category, it still is an honor. Have a lot of people to thank, like many other people. I have to thank, there's 4 people in the room here to represent the Oberto team that I became a part of this season. I'd like to first off thank those guys, Charlie Grooms and Nancy Grooms. They're kind of the mad minds behind the whole organization of the Oberto racing team and the Miss Madison racing team. Charlie does a lot for the team, and I thank him very much for all the time and effort he puts into it. We also have Mark Hooten and Julie Hooten, and they're local Detroit people, so they had a long trip to make it down here, but I really appreciate all the time and effort that you guys put into the team and to being me up for me to be up here tonight. There's been a lot of great teams in the unlimited category. You hear of the Budweiser, you hear the Pay and Pack, you hear of the Pico American Dream. And nowadays, in our time of racing, the boat that everybody wants to be in is the Oberto. So I'm the fortunate one. I'm the lucky one that has gotten to take over the Oberto ride. There was big shoes to fill. Many of you know Steve David. I'm sure every single person in this room knows Steve David very well. I had some extremely big shoes to fill. Steve David's not only one of the greatest racers to ever be a part of the APBA, he's one of the best representatives and role models in our sport. For a 29-year-old kid to come up and try to fill those shoes, it's a tough spot to be in, but I felt I did a pretty good job this year. We had 2 goals this year for our team. We wanted to win the Gold Cup, which has eluded the team for 43 years, and we wanted to win the national championship, and we were able to accomplish both those goals this season. And like I say, it took quite a team effort to get here. I would like to thank the rest of the team, Art and Larry Oberto from the Oberto Sausage Corporation, Mike Hansen, the crew chief of the team, and our gaggle of crew members that come to the races with us. There's probably about 15 of them, and I could sit here all day and read them all and what they've all done, but they all have had a extremely, their part in the team has just been tremendous. So thanks to all the team and the crew. One of the big things I have to do tonight is I have to thank my wife for all of her love and support. I do not do that enough, and it's something that I have to do, and I have to tell her how much in front of all these people, how much I love her and how much she means to me. And I'm very fortunate and very lucky to have somebody in my life that understands what we all do as a driver in boat racing. And I, like many of the rest of you, I had to marry into our big family because not that many people understand what it takes. So thank you very much. And thanks for giving me the greatest gift that anybody could give to anybody. And that's my son, Colton, our son, Colton. I'm very much looking forward to see what he's going to become. He's a handful. He's a menace to society right now. And he's got a lot of personality, which is no surprise. So thank you very much, Bianca, for everything that you do. And I love you very much. I would like to thank my mom and dad next. I come up here and I thank them every year, but I just cannot thank them enough for instilling the morals and values in me growing up that they did. We come from a very tight-knit family. I know it's been very hard for me to take off and kind of do my own thing across the country, being away from you guys, but I hope you know that it really shows how much you've done for me growing up for where I am today in all my successes. So thank you very much to my dad, Stuart, and my mom, Robin, and they're a big part of the APBA family, and they do a lot for the organization. So thank you very much. My good friend Ed Scharbach is here. I'd like to thank him for being here. He's been a great support in my racing career, and Ed's just a wonderful guy. And if you want to sit down and talk for 8 hours, Ed will sit down and talk for 8 hours about anything you would like. So thank you very much, Ed. I really, really have to thank, obviously, the rest of my family, and that's my sister, Kelly, and my soon-to-be brother-in-law, Adam Allen. Thank you guys very much for all your support. They come to a lot of the unlimited races, and I'm very happy that you guys are part of my life. Thank you, Kelly, for all your support. I can remember building boats in our garage, endless nights, and Kelly was there gluing frames into boats with me. And those are the memories that I always remember from you. So thank you very much. And if there's one person that you have to, and she's not in the room tonight, but if there's one person you got to look out for in the future, it's their daughter, Sydney Allen. You look at the two families that Sydney is coming from, the Shanes and the Allens. They're two mecca families in boat racing. Sydney is going to be one hell of a boat racer. So I'm looking forward to seeing Sydney grow up and all of her accomplishments that's to come. You know, I've heard a lot of people say a lot about football when they come up here. It's been really, really familiar that it's, well, you know, so for me, here's my little story on the whole football deal. In 2012, I lived in Baltimore, Maryland. In 2012, the Baltimore Ravens won the Super Bowl. In 2013, I lived in Seattle. The Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl in 2013. In 2014, I'm living in Seattle. The Seattle Seahawks are once again in the Super Bowl. So before I leave tonight, I'm going to be accepting bids for whichever family would like to take Bianca, Colton, and myself in to the highest bidder. If you guys are really true football fans, you're going to want myself and Colton and Bianca to live with you. So I will take the highest bid from anybody that would like their football team to win the Super Bowl in 2015. So thank you guys very much. I'm glad that I'm the last speaker. I know all you guys are happy to have the night over with. So thank you very much for all your support. And once again, thanks to APBA. Thank you to the Hall of Champions Committee. And thanks to each and every one of you for being a part of my life and all of our lives. Thank you very, very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2014 Hall of Champions inductees. And if I can have your attention for just one more moment, please. Closing remarks from APBA President Mark Wheeler.
I see everybody's headed for the bar, so I'll make this quick. And that light is bright. All right. One of my dreams when I became APBA president was to be able to stand here and watch APBA offshore members join the Hall of Champions for the first time since 2006. So I'd especially like to congratulate all the winners, but especially the crews of Octane and No Bullies, first inductees since 2006 in APBA offshore. Also, most of you know the last 3 years have been very challenging times for APBA. We're through all the rough spots, but I'd certainly would like to thank Ryan Berlin and the office staff, Cindy, Sabrina, and Linda for helping us get through it. Please hit the cash bars. Thank you.